Well, I'm excited about this. We've got the Jacksonville Home and Patio Show, and we're meeting one of the main attractions in my book because we're talking about Kaleb Wyse of the Wyse Guide. And, you know, he's got quite the talent, quite the passions to share with us. Welcome to the show, Kaleb.
Wow, thank you so much for having me on.
No worries. And what are you going to be talking about out at the big show this year? I know you're quite the gardener, one of many great traits you have.
I love to garden, and I'm talking all about herbs. So everything from growing them, that beginning stage, to using them in the kitchen. I'm going to demo a really fresh basil pesto, and then even ways that I like to preserve them. Because while you guys have nice warm weather, I'm in Iowa and we get really cold winters where we don't have anything growing. So you have to kind of find a way to extend the season a little bit.
Well, you're going to be loving Jacksonville because I think it's going to be sunny and temperatures in the 80s. And
oh my. That's very different than here.
Yeah, it's good stuff. So what took you back to the farm?
You know, I grew up across the road in a generational farmhouse that my great-grandparents, my grandparents, my mom and dad lived in, and my mom still lives there. And after college, I always knew I wanted to move back, but I also knew I didn't want to farm like my family traditionally farmed with corn and soybeans. So I moved back, and I was an accountant and I hated it. I just absolutely hated it. I was driving like 40 miles one way to work. It wasn't fun. I was feeling drained. So I would come home and do all the things that I just knew how to do. So I would garden, I would pull things out of my yard. I planted a massive vegetable garden, and I just started posting about all those things that I just love to do. I was so passionate about them, and it was exciting for me to show other people. And that finally kind of created a space in which I could live here and enjoy a work life too. So that was what was really exciting for me.
Yeah, awesome. And I can tell the passion in your voice. So here in Jacksonville, we've got a long growing season. So a lot of folks are going to be excited about hearing more about these herbs and the planting and preparing. And when you're planting things, you have like kind of a nice design, I've noticed. You don't just plant this thing here and there. You kind of separate things nicely. How does that work?
Well, you know, in general, I think I'm someone that aesthetics are super important. So if I'm going to put even just a vegetable garden in or a landscaped area, it has to be aesthetically pleasing, because I think that's what pulls us into the space. And that's what gets us really excited to get out into the garden, to work in the garden, and to actually spend time there. So I use raised beds for all of my vegetable gardening, and I do put them in a more formal kind of linear lines. And I like to then use herbs as kind of the ornamental piece that will dress them up. So I will actually plant them in a way that you would almost think they're flowers or think they're more ornamental uses, but then you can use them in the kitchen. So it really dresses up a vegetable garden and makes it feel like a lot more.
That passion of yours has actually led you to some really interesting dishes. Kip and Kip's dog treats.
Oh, Kip, he's my number one. He is my 3.5 French bulldog, 3.5 years old, and he's just with me all the time. He has always been with me in the yard every step of the way. I usually have to call him back from a field because he's running around finding things. And he is, like all dogs I'm sure are, but he is obsessed with food. So if I am in the kitchen, he is at my foot, he is pawing me, he's trying to get me to give him something. So recently I posted my favorite dog treat to make for him because it seems so unfair that I'm always making things that he probably shouldn't have. So instead I make something that he really should have, and it's really healthy, and that's the fun part too. And what's fun about homemade dog treats, the ingredients that go into them, you notice are actually just really simple ingredients that a human could eat too. So you don't do your dog, and it's just a fun process. So I had him up on the counter with me and everything when we were making them.
Wait till my wife finds out. Not only am I going to be cooking my dog's dinner, I'm going to make their own homemade treats, because I looked at your recipes and they're really easy to make. And Kayla, I'm really hungry right now because there's so many good recipes. Tell us about one of your favorite recipes you would like to share.
You know, honestly, at the home show, I'm going to be doing a pesto recipe, and it's one of my favorites too, just because I think a pesto is really versatile in the kitchen. We think of it only maybe used in one way, maybe on top of a pizza, but honestly, you can use pesto as a sauce. You can dip things in it. You can also just blend it into your favorite hummus and recreate something completely new. And what's great about it is it uses the essence of the garden. It uses whatever your favorite flavor is. It doesn't have to be just basil. It can be so many other things. So I think pesto is kind of that gateway. It's that gateway ingredient just to get into the kitchen and get excited about a fresh flavor. And especially since you guys can now grow the basil or grow herbs time of year, you can get into it a lot quicker than I can.
Okay, well, it's gonna be a lot of fun. Jacksonville Home and Patio Show. You got to meet Kaleb Wyse of the Wyse Guide. And thanks so much for being on our show.
I'm super excited. Thanks so much for having me.
All right, safe travels. We'll see you soon. And of course, for more on this, you head to our website, and that's firstcoastliving.com.